Right now, as you sit watching this video, your legs and feet might be silently screaming for help, warning you that your heart is in danger, yet you might be brushing it off as nothing serious. Over 6 million people in the United States are living with congestive heart failure, and what's terrifying is that most of them never saw it coming. They ignored the puffiness in their ankles, the coldness in their toes, and the numb feeling that seemed harmless, not realizing those were their heart's desperate cries for attention. Why do we ignore swelling or cold feet? Because we convince ourselves it's just age, fatigue, or tight shoes. But here's the chilling truth: 94% of people miss the early distress signals of heart failure, believing they're simply getting older. Forget the dramatic movie image of clutching your chest in pain. In real life, heart failure sneaks up quietly. It hides behind symptoms that seem ordinary: swollen ankles, heavy legs, or feet that just won't warm up. The tingling you think comes from sitting too long? It might be your heart's last attempt to warn you before it gives up. But before we dive into the 12 shocking signs, stop for a second. If you truly care about your health and the health of someone you love, hit the subscribe button and turn on notifications. Because here, we talk about what others ignore, the hidden truths your doctor might never mention. And I want you to be part of this conversation. If this message hits close to home, type 1 in the comments right now. If not, type O. Either way, your voice matters more than you realize. Today, we're uncovering 12 symptoms that medical science has proven are early warnings of heart failure, and they all appear in your legs and feet before your heart shows bigger signs. These aren't random discomforts. Each one is a red flag tied directly to your heart's ability to circulate blood properly. Spotting them early could literally mean the difference between life and death. So stay with me, because symptom number 9 happens at night, affects 78% of heart failure patients, and almost nobody realizes it's connected to their heart. Symptom number 1: persistent cold feet. The silent cry of a struggling heart. Let's start with something most people laugh off: cold feet. You might think it's just bad circulation or thin socks, but what if your freezing toes are actually your heart's silent cry for help? When your heart begins to weaken, it faces an impossible choice: where to send the limited blood it can still pump. And in that desperate battle, your body makes a chilling decision. It protects the organs that keep you alive and sacrifices the ones that don't. Your brain, lungs, kidneys, and heart move to the top of the list. But your feet? They get pushed to the very bottom. This isn't speculation, it's science. A major study published in Circulation, one of the most trusted journals in cardiology, found that patients with reduced cardiac output almost always reported cold extremities as one of their first warning signs. The logic is simple but terrifying. Your feet are the farthest point from your heart and require the most effort to keep warm. When your heart can't manage that load, your feet start to feel icy, not because of the weather, but because your body has decided to stop prioritizing them. Here's how you know it's not normal. Ordinary cold feet warm up once you move around or exercise. But heart-related coldness stays no matter what you do. People describe it as a deep chill that doesn't go away even when wearing thick socks or sitting under a blanket. It's as if your feet belong to someone else, frozen while the rest of your body feels fine. That's not just discomfort. That's your body whispering a deadly truth: your heart may no longer be strong enough to keep up. Symptom number 2: the pitting edema test. When your finger reveals a failing heart, here's a test you can try right now. No equipment, no doctor, just your own hands. Press your finger firmly into the swollen area of your leg or ankle for about 10 seconds, then lift it away. If you see a deep dent that doesn't bounce back immediately, that's not just swelling, that's your heart's cry for help. This is called pitting edema, and it's one of the most visible signs that your heart is losing control. What seems like a bit of puffiness could actually be a clue that your blood isn't moving the way it should. Doctors around the world use this simple test in hospitals every day, and research published in the American Heart Journal draws a direct, undeniable connection between pitting edema and right-sided heart failure. When the right side of your heart weakens, it struggles to push blood back to your lungs for oxygen. The blood then begins to pool, creating a traffic jam inside your veins. The pressure builds until fluid leaks out into the surrounding tissues. The same tissues you just pressed with your finger. That little pit that lingers after you release pressure? It's not harmless. It's physical proof that your body is overloaded with trapped fluid, and your heart can't handle the demand. The longer the indentation stays, the more saturated your tissues have become. A silent alarm that your circulation is failing. Most people mistake this for simple swelling from standing too long or eating too much salt. But if the marks on your skin don't fade quickly, your body is sending you a message you cannot afford to ignore. Your heart is falling behind. Symptom number 3. Sudden leg muscle weakness. When your muscles beg for oxygen, have your legs ever suddenly felt like they've turned to jelly, weak, shaky, or powerless even after light movement? You might think it's age, fatigue, or lack of exercise. But what if that sudden weakness isn't coming from your legs at all? What if it's coming from your heart? Groundbreaking research published in Circulation. Heart failure shocked scientists when it revealed that muscle weakness in the legs isn't just a symptom of tiredness, it's a direct result of the heart's inability to deliver enough oxygen-rich blood. When your heart fails to pump efficiently, your leg muscles are starved of both oxygen and nutrients, robbing them of the very energy they need to function. This isn't just about feeling sluggish. Studies found that patients with heart failure actually lose contractile proteins, the microscopic machinery inside each muscle fiber responsible for movement. Imagine your muscles slowly losing the tools they need to work. That's exactly what happens when oxygen supply drops. Researchers discovered that patients with chronic heart failure have significantly lower levels of a key protein called myosin heavy chain, which means their muscles literally lose the ability to contract properly. That's why simple tasks, climbing stairs, walking short distances, or even standing from a chair, start feeling like monumental challenges. And here's the truly terrifying part. The same research showed that this weakness doesn't always disappear, even after heart function improves with treatment. Once the muscle fibers are damaged, the change can become permanent. So if your legs suddenly feel unusually weak, if stairs you once climbed easily now feel trembling or breathless, don't ignore it. That's not just fatigue. That's your muscles sending a desperate signal that your heart is no longer keeping up with your body's demands. Symptom number 4. Rapid weight gain. The silent flood building inside your body. You step on the scale one morning, and your heart skips a beat. The number staring back at you is 5, maybe even 10 pounds higher, and it feels impossible. You didn't overeat. You didn't suddenly gain fat overnight. Yet your legs feel heavier, your shoes tighter, and your body different. What's really happening might be far more dangerous than you realize. This isn't normal weight gain, it's fluid retention, one of the most alarming early signs that your heart is beginning to fail at its job. According to the Mayo Clinic, sudden weight gain of just 5 pounds in a day, or up to 10 in a few days, can be a red alert, a sign that your heart is no longer circulating blood efficiently. When the heart weakens, it can't push blood through your system properly. Pressure builds up in your veins. That pressure forces fluid out of your blood vessels and into surrounding tissues, especially in your legs, ankles, and feet. What you're seeing on the scale is not fat, it's trapped fluid. And every pound tells a story of your body struggling to maintain control. This isn't just uncomfortable swelling, it's your body waving a red flag. As gravity pulls the retained fluid downward, your jeans suddenly tighten around your calves, your socks leave deep marks, and your shoes don't fit the way they did yesterday. You might even notice your skin taking on a faint bluish or purplish tint, a chilling sign that oxygen isn't reaching your lower tissues. Doctors call this circulatory failure, when the heart's ability to manage blood flow collapses under pressure. And here's the terrifying truth. This type of fluid weight can rise fast, sometimes 10 to 15 pounds in a single week, without a single extra calorie consumed. Every ounce of that extra weight represents your heart losing its grip on the delicate balance of your body's internal system. If your scale starts climbing overnight, your legs swell, and your body feels unnaturally heavy, don't ignore it. This is your body's silent cry for help, a signal that your heart is drowning, 1 pound at a time. Symptom number 5. Bluish or dusky legs, cyanosis, oxygen per blood pools in extremities, ESE, heart failure, the 5th symptom that you may experience. When you look down at your legs and see that they have grown an alarming bluish or dusky tint, this is what the medical professionals refer to as cyanosis. Cyanosis is one of the most visually obvious and medically significant symptoms that your heart is having difficulty maintaining adequate circulation throughout your body. It is not anything that is so delicate that you might overlook it. This color change is one that is frequently noticeable and causes a great deal of concern. Cyanosis was identified as a significant peripheral symptom of congestive heart failure in a study that was published in the European Society for Cardiology Heart Failure. Cyanosis is a condition that manifests itself when oxygen-deficient blood begins to take control of your circulation, particularly in regions of your body where blood has a tendency to pull or travel more slowly into your vessels. The most reliant portions of your body, which include your lower legs, ankles, and feet, are the first to show the bluish tinge. This is because gravity pulls blood in those areas, making it more difficult for your heart, which is already weaker, to circulate blood adequately. As the progression of heart failure continues, this discoloration becomes more noticeable and continues to be present throughout the day. As the illness progresses, the bluish tint will often begin at your toes and feet, and then it will progressively creep up your lower legs. As a result of the fact that blood pools most drastically in your lower extremities while you are sitting or standing for extended periods of time, it is typically much more evident when you are doing either of these activities. There is no cosmetic or innocuous reason for this color shift. In addition to revealing the desperate state of your circulation, it also reflects a significant impact on the oxygenation of your tissues. This blue color is your body's method of letting you know that a crisis is developing at the molecular level. Your cells are physically starving for oxygen, and this color is your body's way of letting you know why. Symptom number 6. Persistent ankle swelling. Gravity pulled fluid backup won't ease with rest. Jack. One of the symptoms that you certainly cannot ignore is the swelling of your ankles, which is the 6th symptom. Ankle swelling is one of the most obvious symptoms of congestive heart failure, and it is frequently one of the very first warning signs that patients experience. In the event that your heart begins to weaken, it will no longer be able to pump blood throughout your circulatory system while maintaining its efficiency. Because of this, the pressure in your veins will gradually increase as blood will back up from your weakening heart, similar to how traffic will back up after an accident on the highway. In addition to being one of the early warning signals of heart failure that is most frequently reported, research that was published in the Journal of the American College of Cardiology, JACC, Heart Failure, found that swelling in the ankle is also one of the most dependable indicators of how the condition would worsen over time. As a result of the increased pressure that is caused by the accumulation of blood in your veins, fluid flows out of your blood vessels and into the tissues that are located in the surrounding area. Due to the fact that gravity drags fluid downward to the lowest position in your body in a natural and unrelenting manner, your ankles become the primary gathering point for this extra fluid. The fact that this discomfort often does not disappear with rest or elevation, in contrast to the characteristic of normal swelling, is what makes it a particularly worrying sign and distinguishes it from the infrequent swelling that occurs in the ankle. The condition continues to be there day after day, steadily deteriorates over the course of time, and frequently becomes noticeably more obvious as each day goes on. Your ankles can appear to be reasonably normal when you wake up, but by the time you go to bed, they will have greatly swollen and become tight. This is a confirmation that you are dealing with the fluid accumulation that is caused by heart failure, and not just the transitory swelling that you get as a result of spending a long day on your feet. If you press on the swollen area and observe that pitting that we discussed earlier, where an indentation remains after you remove your finger, this indicates indentation, one of the symptoms that demonstrates. Symptom number 7. Slow healing leg or foot wounds. Tissue hypoxia blocks repair. JAMA study how severely your circulation has been impeded is the sluggish healing of sores on your legs or feet, which is the 7th symptom. A critical issue with circulation and oxygen delivery that originates directly from your failing heart is revealed when you develop a minor cut, scrape, or sore on your leg or foot that should normally heal within days or maybe a week. but instead it persists week after week, sometimes month after month. This indicates that your heart is failing. An eye-opening study that shed light on the connection between delayed wound healing and congestive heart failure was recently published in the Journal of the American Medical Association. 3 primary causes were shown to be responsible for the greatly delayed wound healing that patients with heart failure face, as indicated by the study. Tissue hypoxia is a condition in which your tissues are not receiving an adequate amount of oxygen. This indicates that your body is unable to efficiently fight off infections and build new tissue, since your immune function has been reduced and circulation that is hampered, which means that the building elements that are necessary for healing simply are unable to reach the wound site in an efficient manner. Chronic oxygen deprivation affects your tissues when your heart is unable to pump blood adequately, which causes your tissues to suffer. When it comes to the healing of wounds, this is why it is so important. The process of healing is extremely oxygen intensive and necessitates a vigorous blood flow in order to transport nutrition, immune cells, and all the building elements to the particular location where the injury occurred. The disruption of this blood flow that occurs when heart failure occurs causes even tiny wounds to become significant difficulties that may take months to resolve. Tragically, some wounds may never heal entirely without the intervention of vigorous medical treatment. Having a cut, scrape, or sore on your leg or foot that has been there for weeks without showing any substantial improvement is a dangerous warning indication that your heart is not delivering adequate circulation to your extremities. If you have this condition, you should seek medical attention immediately. Symptom number 8. Leg cramps or pain on walking. Claudication. Muscle starve during activity. Cardiac failure journal. 8th symptom, and it is a symptom that significantly restricts the activities that you are able to engage in on a regular basis. After only a few minutes of walking at a typical pace, the muscles in your legs start to cramp and hurt with such a degree of intensity that you are compelled to stop and rest. This symptom, which is referred to as claudication by medical professionals, is considered to be one of the most functionally limiting symptoms of congestive heart failure. This is due to the fact that it can eliminate your freedom and movement. Comprehensive research that demonstrates the clear connection between these claudication symptoms and decreased cardiac output in heart failure patients was published in the Journal of Cardiac Failure. If your heart is beginning to fail, it will simply be unable to pump blood effectively enough to satisfy the demands that your body places on it during physical activity, even if it is a relatively light exercise that was previously effortless. Because they are among of the largest and most metabolically active muscles in your entire body, the muscles in your legs are the first to suffer the catastrophic effects of this reduction in blood flow and oxygen supply. Patients frequently describe having progressive muscle discomfort, cramping, and exhaustion in their legs during activities that were previously absolutely effortless, such as going to the mailbox or performing light housekeeping. This is a common occurrence as heart function continues to diminish. It is possible that at first you will only experience muscular weariness when you are engaging in more difficult tasks such as climbing hills or carrying groceries. Nevertheless, as the progression of heart failure continues, these symptoms start to manifest themselves with tasks that are progressively less strenuous, until eventually simply walking across a room becomes difficult. This gradual limitation demonstrates how the deterioration of your heart's function is directly affecting the ability of your muscles to work. This is because your muscles are being deprived of the oxygen-rich blood that they require so desperately. At this point, we have symptom number 9, nighttime restless legs. Fluid shifts cause nerve irritation in 78% of cases. Sleep medicine arrived at the 9th symptom, which is the one that occurs during the night and is experienced by 78% of individuals who are suffering from heart failure. The annoying sensation of restless legs at night is almost never associated with the heart, and almost no one is aware of this connection. After a long day, you finally make your way to bed in the hopes of getting some rest, but your legs start to feel as though they are acting independently of you. The inability to sleep is accompanied by twitching, cramping, and an unexplainable yearning to move, all of which make it impossible to sleep. Studies that were published in the journal Sleep Medicine Reviews shed light on the fascinating and intricate relationship that exists between fluid redistribution and the onset of restless leg sensations. In patients who are suffering from heart failure, describe the mechanism that is causing you to have trouble sleeping. When you stand and walk around during the day, fluid from your poor circulation has a tendency to build excessively in your lower legs and feet due to the constant gravitational pull that you experience. As soon as you finally lay down for the night, the fluid that has been accumulating in your body starts to move around and redistribute itself throughout your body because gravity is no longer forcing it lower. The sensations that your brain perceives as an urgent and overpowering need to move your legs are caused by the movement of this extra fluid from your legs back toward your core circulation. This movement causes nerves to be compressed. It causes electrolyte balances to be altered in unforeseen ways, and it has the effect of creating these sensations. This overnight fluid shift causes nerve compression, which results in sensations that patients describe as being extremely frustrating. These sensations include tingling, burning, or crawling for the patient because of the impaired circulation that is associated with heart failure. The tissues in your legs may already be having difficulty receiving adequate oxygen delivery throughout the day. This fluid shift that occurs during the night can further exacerbate the condition. The consequence is a perfect storm of neurological irritation that renders it nearly hard for you to get a peaceful night's sleep and leaves you feeling fatigued day after day. 10th on the list of symptoms is the quick worsening or symptoms #10-12. Worsening varicose veins, shiny or thin skin, persistent foot numbness, or tingling. Unexpected appearance of varicose veins. It is possible that your body is exposing a much more serious underlying problem than simple vein troubles. When existing varicose veins that you have had for years suddenly get significantly worse, or when new varicose veins arise, apparently out of nowhere. A substantial connection between heart failure and the rapid advancement of varicose veins was discovered through research that was published in the Vascular Medicine Journal. That connection is something that the majority of people are unaware of. The development of varicose veins occurs when the one-way valves in the veins of your legs get damaged or compromised. This phenomenon causes blood to flow in the opposite direction, pooling in your lower extremities, rather than traveling back to your heart in an effective manner. This already weakened venous system is confronted with an extra overwhelming obstacle that significantly accelerates the problem. When congestive heart failure is brought into the picture, there is a significant increase in pressure throughout your entire venous system. When your heart begins to fail, this is because blood begins to back up from the weakening heart, which causes the pressure to increase. Your leg veins and their already weakened valves are subjected to a significant amount of stress as a result of this elevated pressure, which causes them to fail both more quickly and completely than they would have otherwise. When heart failure develops, patients who had previously moderate varicose veins that were only a cosmetic problem frequently report that their condition has significantly worsened over the course of just a few months. As time goes on, the veins become larger, more numerous, more painful, and more problematic from a functional standpoint. This could be an indication that your heart is exerting harmful backward pressure in your venous system. If your varicose veins have suddenly become considerably worse, or if new ones are emerging rapidly. If this is the case, then you should seek medical attention immediately. 11th on the list of symptoms is modifications to the skin that, if you are aware of what to look for, are exceptionally noticeable. When you check the skin on your lower legs and feet, does it appear to have an exceptionally shiny appearance, almost as if it has been stretched tightly over your bones? When you touch it, does it feel different from the skin on other parts of your body? Is it thinner, more delicate, or weirdly smooth? Or does it feel different altogether? Changes of this nature are not merely superficial. The significance of these changes lies in the fact that they demonstrate how the retention of fluids caused by heart failure is essentially modifying your skin at the structural level. The research that was published in Heart and Lung fully described these distinctive skin alterations that were observed in patients who were suffering from chronic heart failure. When fluid continues to accumulate in your tissues as a result of congestive heart failure, it does not merely result in swelling that is visible to the naked eye. In ways that are highly relevant from a medical standpoint, It causes fundamental changes to the structure and look of your skin. When you have an excessive amount of fluid, your skin is stretched beyond its normal limit, much like when you blow up a balloon. It is possible that you will notice a shiny appearance on your skin because typical healthy skin has a matte appearance due to its natural texture, which includes pores and microscopic wrinkles. However, when fluid accumulation causes the skin to become taut, it flattens all of these natural characteristics, resulting in a surface that is excessively smooth and shiny, and that reflects light in a different way than normal skin. Because this change is so consistent and dependable, medical professionals frequently utilize it as a visual diagnostic signal to determine whether or not a patient is experiencing considerable fluid retention. Due to the fact that the stretching has affected the structural integrity of the skin, it may result in the skin seeming thinner and more translucent. Additionally, the skin may become more fragile and more prone to tearing or injury. The numbness or tingling that you experience in your feet is the 12th symptom, and it is a companion that is uncomfortable and persistent. The sensation of your feet falling asleep goes from being a little inconvenience to becoming something that you experience throughout the day, sometimes to such a degree that it interferes with your ability to walk safely and cause you to lose your balance. The majority of individuals are under the impression that the prevalence of these neurological symptoms in heart failure patients is significantly higher than they actually are. This was discovered through research that was published in current heart failure reports. Numbness and tingling in the feet are symptoms that are associated with congestive heart failure. These symptoms are caused by two primary mechanisms that frequently interact with one another to trigger the condition. The first process includes the direct compression of nerves occurring as a result of swollen tissue. As a result of poor heart function, fluid can gather in your feet and lower legs, which can cause swelling. This swelling can compress the tiny nerves that provide sensation to your feet, which can result in numbness, tingling, or even sharp shooting sensations that come on suddenly. The second process includes a decrease in the amount of oxygen that is supplied to the nerves themselves, which is actually a more worrying circumstance. In order to operate effectively, your peripheral nerves, like every other tissue in your body, require an adequate amount of oxygen. In the event that heart failure limits the amount of blood that flows to your extremities, it is possible that the nerves in your feet will not receive sufficient oxygen to continue functioning normally. Your nerves will misfire as a result of this oxygen deficiency, which will send misleading messages to your brain. These signals will be interpreted by you as feelings of numbness, tingling, pins and needles, or burning sensations. In the beginning, you could feel a slight tingling sensation that comes and goes without any discernible pattern. However, as heart failure advances and worsens over time, these sensations become more consistent, more strong, and more difficult to ignore. During the course of the day, some patients have reported that they had the sensation of walking on pins and needles, while others have described their feet as feeling completely numb, as if they were walking on stumps. Due to the fact that you lose the capacity to feel injuries, temperature changes, or pressure points, which could potentially cause major harm to your feet. This can become problematic. In the course of our joint investigation of these 12 essential symptoms, one thing has become utterly and completely. Act fast on multiple symptoms. Early detection saves lives. Contact doctor now. Transparent. Your legs and feet are highly developed early warning systems that have the ability to identify heart failure long before it becomes suddenly life-threatening. Every single one of the symptoms that we have gone over today is your body's urgent attempt to convey the message that your heart requires immediate medical assistance. On this particular subject, the research is completely clear and unambiguous. It would be irresponsible to disregard these symptoms until your next scheduled visit because they are not trivial inconveniences. They are indicators that are supported by evidence of an illness that is currently affecting more than 6 million people in the United States and continues to claim more lives than a number of different types of cancer combined. Therefore, this is the energizing truth that ought to inspire you to have hope. The ability to recognize these signs at an early stage can undoubtedly be the difference between an illness that is treatable and that you are able to live with successfully. for decades, and a medical emergency that results in disastrous outcomes. It is important to keep in mind that congestive heart failure does not always manifest itself with the dramatic chest pain and collapse that you see in movies and on television. The majority of the time, it communicates its presence to you through the tiny changes that occur in your legs and feet, which we have discussed in great depth today. That swelling in your ankles that does not go away even when you rest or elevate them can be a permanent problem. All the warm socks and heating pads in the world won't be enough to warm up those chilly feet. That unexplained increase in weight that appears to arise out of nowhere and primarily manifests itself in your lower body. The symptoms that you are experiencing are your body's way of pleading or even begging for assistance before it is too late. You should not wait for the symptoms to become more severe or expect that they would miraculously disappear on their own. If you recognize several signs from today's lecture, more than just 1 or 2 symptoms on your own, get in touch with your healthcare professional as soon as possible. When I say that something has the potential to save your life, I am not being hyperbolic. It is possible to significantly improve results, as well as your quality of life and your longevity with early intervention in heart failure. We have medications, treatments, and lifestyle interventions that work remarkably well when we catch this condition early, but they become far less effective when heart failure has progressed to advanced stages. Tell us what you learned today and what change you're prepared to make in the comment section below. Since we all grow when we share, let's help one another. Please hit the like button if this video was helpful to you or if it even slightly opened your eyes. Click subscribe to ensure you don't overlook any information that could alter your health. Turn on the bell before you leave. Please input 1 if this video was useful. If not, type 0. You may not realize how important your comment is. Something really significant has been attempting to communicate with you through your legs and feet. At this point, you are able to pay attention to what they are saying. Be sure not to disregard these messengers. It is possible that they are about to save your life right now, in this very instant. I am grateful that you have taken the effort to educate yourself on these vital signs which could potentially save your life. It is vital to keep in mind that detecting these signals at an early stage and taking action on them could be the single most significant thing you do for your future health and the future you will spend with the people you love.